Hey, this is Annie Veblen-McCarty, and I'm going to teach you how to be effortlessly productive. I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, and I got sick and tired of experts preaching what business and life should look like and what I should be doing as a leader and to turn a profit, only to find myself wasting time, burned out, feeling inauthentic, and still not making any money. On this show, we are ditching the shoulds. I'm giving you permission to do business differently. As a certified master coach, I believe that everything you need to have success and build the life and business of your dreams is already living on the inside. I'm going to empower you to lean into what you do best, help you see your path forward clearly, and give you the strategy and action steps along the way to become effortlessly productive. Let's dive in. Welcome to this episode of Effortlessly Productive. Today, we are going to chat about one of my core values, which is the word vibrant. And why I want to dive into this is this has been a word that has stuck out to me for a very long time. And I've known that that's one of my words, right? Those words that just resonate and you're like, yes. And people are like, oh, you are so vibrant. Like your hair, your energy, like you are so vibrant. But somebody a few months ago asked me, they were like, what exactly does that mean to you? Like, talk to me about this, because most people, when you talk about core values, it's things like family and community. And another big one of mine is integrity, perseverance, those kinds of things. And they were like, I have literally never heard somebody say vibrant or vibrancy was a core value. So like, what does that mean? Talk to me about that. And as I started to just kind of spill out all the things, I realized that why this word is so important to me and why I wanted to do this episode for you today is that it really is related to the creative aspect. So as I started to share with her, I was like, I just feel like so much of my life, I was just kind of in a fog. I was just going through the motions. Everything was in grayscale. Like things were foggy. I was tired all the time. I wasn't excited about things. I just didn't feel like myself. And when I finally allowed myself to tap back into all of those creative things that I loved so much, that I thrived on as a kid, that just lit me up and energized me, as I started to allow myself that creative time and those experiences that I'm actually going to go into in a minute of why this is so important for our creativity, the whole world lit up around me. I literally started to see the world in full color again. And it was such a beautiful, amazing transformation. And especially as somebody who is creative and does a lot of creative work in my business, this was literally a game changer for me. When I was going through the motions and in that grayscale world that I lived in for so many decades, my business didn't thrive. My business went nowhere. I would sit down to work and I was checking the boxes. I was doing all the things. I was working really, really, really hard and I was seeing no results from it. And I realized that when I was checking the boxes, I was doing just that. I was doing things in order to check a box and say that I had done it for the day, not because I was excited about it, not because I had something that I was so passionate to share, not because it fed my creative soul, right? So this is why, as creatives, it's so important to make sure that we are doing things that feed that ability to see the world in full color. And it was at that same retreat where somebody had asked me this. We were in Salt Lake City and I ended up running out to pick up lunch for everybody, pick up the catering order. And we actually were in the Park City area, if you were familiar with that. And I had to drive into Salt Lake City to pick up this catering order for the retreat that we were hosting. And just watching the world around me as I was driving, I had the music turned up. I was blasting some great tunes and just looking around me at this beautiful landscape, these mountains coming up out of the desert. It was so absolutely beautiful and stunning. The sky was bright blue. The trees were green. The grass was all brown. Like, it was so absolutely beautiful. There were some mountains in the background that still had snow on them that was pure sparkling white. And I realized in that moment, that is what I meant. Rewind 20 years ago, I would have made that same drive and I wouldn't have actually seen any of that. I would have been seeing it with my eyes, but I wouldn't have been processing with my brain. And that is the difference between living life in full color and why this is so important for entrepreneurs to expose ourselves, number one, just to those new sights that we do not normally see in our day-to-day. As artists, as creatives, that is what feeds our creativity. When we create, we are pulling from that place of all the things that we have experienced. And it doesn't just come down to the vision, to the seeing different things. Like I said, I had the music turned up so loud and was just like jamming out, having such a good time. It's a full sensory experience. So it's really important to make sure that we are tasting new foods, that we are smelling new smells. Buy that candle that is a scent that you have never bought before, because it's going to be a whole brand new experience that is going to light certain parts of your brain and certain parts of your creativity on fire. So you can then pull from that and inspire your creativity, those sounds, the touches, right? The different sensations that we feel. So as a creative, I make sure that I am doing things that feeds this bank of experiences. I think that's part of why I love travel so much, because it puts me in places that I don't normally go, things that I don't normally see, smells I don't normally smell. It's a full sensory experience when you travel. You're seeing new things, you're smelling new things, you're hearing new sounds. Like, I'm about to go to Tulum in Mexico. It is freezing outside here as I record this, like literally in the single digits. And I'm about to fly to a place where it is going to be warm and tropical, and I'm going to feel that warm breeze on my skin and dip into a warm ocean. That's a very different sensory experience than what I've been surrounded with for the last few months. And those are the things that feed that creative well, like I said. So I make sure as a creative and as an artist that I am setting myself up for those experiences. And while travel is super amazing, it is literally that full body immersion, full sensory immersion. We can create this anywhere. An example is when you are driving, go down a road that you don't normally drive on. I drive to and from my husband's business a couple times a week, and I take the same route every single time. But there are lots of other ways I can go. And every once in a while, I will go a different way just so I can see different scenery. Because when we're used to seeing the same thing all the time, our brain goes on autopilot. That's how we can get in the car and get to our destination. And we're like, I literally don't even remember that drive. Like, what just happened? I am amazed I even arrived safely because I literally have no memory. But we've driven that route so many times that we literally are just triggering a habit pattern. Our brain knows exactly what to do, and it does not require as much conscious input from our brain. So it just happens automatically. We want to disrupt that as a creative, and really as anybody. We want to make sure we're disrupting that every now and then. Yes, I'm so grateful my brain does certain things automated. I don't want to have to think really hard about how to put my pants on in the morning. However, I do want to make sure that I am experiencing lots of different things as well. So putting ourselves in those situations, go for a walk, go outside in nature. I think part of the reason why I love surrounding myself with nature and just going outside, it's that fresh air, but it also is different every single time. Literally every single time you go out in nature, things are a little bit different.
a few weeks ago, we hadn't gotten that much snow. Now we've had a couple of snowfalls. The world looks very different. We've had this spell of very cold temperatures. Things are a lot more frozen and just more rigid and look different. The plants are mostly all having that internal hibernation. You might see an animal that you don't normally see. So make sure that you are exposing yourself to things like that. And again, that's part of why I think that we don't have to travel and spend thousands of dollars going on these amazing experiences. Yes, that's important, but we can also experience these things and expose ourselves to these things in ways that are very easy, ways that are completely free. We don't have to be investing and spending a lot of money to do that. So I wanted to share this episode with you to encourage you, especially if you are somebody who is creative, who is spiritual, who is a healer, who is a coach, who is really pulling from that internal well of creativity or inspiration. Go out and experiment with this and try this and see what that does for your creativity and for your business. People notice a difference. I can tell you 100%, as I made that shift from that grayscale life that I lived in for so long into this full color version of myself, seeing the world in full color and experiencing fully these things that were surrounding me in my daily life and these special experiences as well. People noticed and people were attracted to that. My energy increased. My energy was that full color energy. And people are attracted to that because there are so many people out there living in that grayscale, literally just going through the motions, wondering how they're going to get from one day to the next, wondering if the rest of their life is going to be spending day after day, year after year, looking and experiencing the exact same things that they have for the last 20 years. There are so many people who fear that they're trapped in this cycle that they will never come out of, and they're not really living life fully. And they need people like you who are to be that inspiration for them and show them that there is a different way to live life. There is a way where we can have hope. We can have excitement. We don't just have to go through the motions of life. We can literally live life fully. So go be that inspiration for people. Go be that inspiration for yourself. I hope you love this episode. I will catch you on the next episode of Effortlessly Productive. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.